Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sideline Banter Show, SB for short. I'm your host, Nadeem, alongside my friends Umayr and Jamaal. We're out here creating an environment where we can talk about sports and have laid-back discussions in a more laid-back and chill setting. So real quick, just to introduce myself, I'm Nadeem. I'm currently working in finance, but I have a huge passion for sports, especially football, both styles of football, baseball, and basketball. So on this show, we'll be going back and forth between the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, and we'll maybe even touch up on some European soccer as well. Like I said, I have my two co-hosts here with me, so why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
What's up, everyone? I'm Jamaal. I'm currently a grad student at the University of Washington, Seattle. Went to DePaul, graduated in Chicago. I like doing portrait photography for fun, and then outside of that, I'm in school, but I also love sports. So I wanted to find a way to incorporate that into life. So here we are.
Yeah, so my name is Umayr. I'm currently going to DePaul University inside like the analytics sector. Currently love football, basketball. Mostly watch like any sport, but mainly basketball and football. Kind of like something about me is like I love food. I'm like a foodie. Love to travel.
Umayr Eats, shout out.
Facts.
Check out the page.
Umayr Eats. And just like started this podcast with my friends, and it was good.
Yeah, so as you can tell, we're all based out of Chicago. So a lot of our content is going to be based on the Cubs, Bears, Bulls. But interestingly enough, in this week's show, we have almost none of it. We'll talk about the Bulls and their kind of hot streak they're going. They're in the 8th place in the Eastern Conference right now. But a lot of it is going to be centered around mock drafts. The NFL season is in full gear for the offseason. So we're going to talk about mock drafts and the quarterback controversies and moves around the league. So without further ado, let's get into our show. You can find us at the Sideline Banter on Instagram and our YouTube page, where you can find full episodes of our stream and our show. And interact with us, and we'll also be joining Clubhouse soon, so be sure to look out for that as well, where you can kind of chime in and give your own takes as well. It's going to be a really more of like an interactive take on your regular sports shows that you see. So without further ado, let's get into the show. All right, pause. All right, our first topic on today's show is going to be Zach Lavine and the extremely hot Chicago Bulls. Zach Lavine in his last 9 games, I'll just read some of the stat lines. It's kind of out of this world. So he's had 39 points, 35 points, 46 points, 26 points, 30 points, 37 points, 30 points, 38 points, 21 points. And that was yesterday against the Rockets team, in which they completely blew the rails off of that team. So they were in prime position to win that game anyways, even without a healthy contribution from Zach Lavine. But this man's been on fire for sure. He deserves an all-star nod, I believe, and he's actually proving to be a pretty solid number 1 option on a pretty hot team right now.
So who were the 2 snubs last year for the All-Star game, the 2 biggest snubs? There were 3 big snubs, but 2 of them were Bradley Beal and Zach Lavine.
I think Devin Booker was also, but then he got in for, I forgot which player.
It was like an injured.
Right? Yeah, but those 3 were the biggest snubs from last year, which they're all balling out.
I think Beal is actually averaging 30 or more on the season, or like 29.
He went from being snubbed to being a starter. So
something crazy.
Yeah, he's going off.
He's going off, and Zach Lavine's doing the same exact thing. He's here to play. Like, I think last year there were a lot of questions. Like, he's good, he's young, he's amazing. Could he lead a team?
He's a deserved all-star this year, man. Like, I mean, just like Stephen A. Smith says, he's a bad man this year. He's honestly, like, I was looking at his stats. He's like averaging 28.9 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 5.1 assists, shooting from 52% from the field and 43% from the field goal range. He's one of 3 players to average 25, 5, and 5 on 50% shooting and 40% 3 points. Can you guess the other 2 players that are
D-Rose and MJ?
D-Rose, MJ? I'm saying, like, currently right now.
Oh, in general, 25-5. I was saying it's on the Bulls since
I mean,
MJ. He probably is, but okay.
Should I say it, or do you guys want to guess?
Go for it.
KD and the Joker are the only 2 players that are averaging 25, 5, and 5 on 50% field goals and 40% 3-point field goal percentage. So literally, this man deserves an All-Star. I don't want to hear it from other people.
He better be All-Star, and the way you're saying, he should be first team All-Pro too.
He should. He's on his way.
I don't know about first team.
I think there's other.
I mean, if you think about it, Jokic and KD are the top 2 MVP candidates right now. If he's number 3,
I wouldn't say
Joel
KD.
Embiid is up there as well.
I mean,
KD's been taking games off like every other game almost.
That's 3 people.
Joel Embiid's up there. You got to give props to James Harden what he's doing with the Nets right now. Like they're on a 6-game winning streak and they've been bossing teams. Like they completely bossed the Lakers a couple of games ago.
AD wasn't there.
I wouldn't give first team though. I wouldn't give first team, but I'd say like maybe he'd get.
I think solid All-Star. The only thing is that like what I've been seeing from him is he's been putting points up against really bad teams, and for sure like good teams beat bad teams, but against I guess the 76ers. We saw him against the Clippers. Like they didn't win those games, so he's putting up numbers, but he has to win close games.
I mean, those games that they've been losing has only been like by a shot or like 3 points. Like the margin is very, very close.
Or Embiid dropping 50.
Right. Like the reason why that team is, I mean, for me personally, that defense has to do a little bit better, which they are consistently getting. Like they're learning. It's not even about like, oh, they're just collapsing because they're lazy. It's just because in the beginning of the season they've been losing like big leads. They've been losing like they didn't know how to be situated at the end. But now like Zach's understanding, he's taking that leadership role. People are understanding we have to give him the ball. The team's been growing in my opinion. Okay. So and Zach's been growing as well as a leader. Mm-hmm. So now they're closing out games. If you've seen the last 2 weeks, they've been those games that you needed. Zach's been hitting the important shots. He's not taking dumb shots. Obviously, there are some shots he's taking that could be better, but they're in my opinion, it's progress. It's not something that they're declining with Boylan.
And I think that has a lot to do with Billy Donovan coming in and kind of setting the culture and completely getting away from the Jim Boylan style of coaching. They're a lot more into these games, regardless of who the opponent is. Even when Joel Embiid drops 50, that accounted for almost 50% of the entire 76ers points. So you're getting that. I mean, they don't have a big man down low that can compete and stop. Wendell was supposed to be that guy. He's been a complete bust this season, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But Laurie's been injured in and out of the lineup. Some guys like Daniel Gafford have had to step up.
Porter's been out for the last like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this team is a good team. Maybe it's premature to say that they're able to contend right now, but you can see the building blocks are there, and if they get a good big, maybe Boogie Cousins, who just got released today by the Rockets.
I was about to say we should trade up Wendell Carter and Laurie and probably one more pick for like Drummond. He's young. He's 28 years old.
Drummond's on the market too.
Yes, if he can get him Zach Lavine, Drummond, and then if he can get one more dude like a point guard, like a solid point guard in the offseason. I mean, if we get the first pick, I don't think we're gonna get the first pick, but if we can get like imagine we'll be the Suns of the East, like because Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Booker, that's our combo. If we can get
he's on a 1-year deal, isn't he?
I think so. If he is on a
1-year deal, 1 or 2 years deal, he'll be on the market. CP's a dog and he's cheap.
But he's old. He's like gonna be like what?
He's old, but he's
a good leader. He's such a good leader.
He's a leader.
He's 35 years old. His contract.
All right, here's my question. So, do you think Zach Lavine could be the first option and leader for a championship Bulls team?
No.
I don't think first option. I think second option. I'm convinced now.
With his style of play, I think his style of play right now is kind of moving him up in my mind from a third option to a second option on a great team. Yeah. But, I mean, 25-5-5 won't happen on the championship team if you have a primary ball handler.
So, Chris Paul is a free agent in 2022. So, we would have to wait another year. And then when Zach Lavine and Chris Paul are free agents, then we have to sign both of them.
What other point guards are on the market or will be on the market next year?
Next year?
That the Bulls
Cade Cunningham. I'm telling you. Give the package. Give Wendell. Give your pick, and give maybe even Laurie. Throw Laurie in there, and you got Cade Cunningham, Zach Lavine, and then maybe get somebody in the offseason to be that big.
But you would have to get a first pick, and that, I mean, I don't think
Cunningham. I think that team needs a leader. I think it needs like a CP type mentality.
They need if they got like a playmaker.
They need someone older to come in.
Right, but if they have that, if they get like a playmaker,
so
that would be.
We can get Chris Paul, but he has to decline his player option. Which I doubt.
I doubt he's gonna do it at age.
So we have Mike Conley, we have Kyle Lowry,
I can see Lowry.
Goran Dragic, Dennis Schroeder. I mean,
Schroeder time.
Yeah, I mean, those are the key point guards we would have to get. I wouldn't mind Mike Conley, but I just don't think he.
No one crazy stands out other than like CP pretty much.
Yeah,
or like Lowry
it's not a huge. Drew Holiday is one, but he has a player option, so you would have to reject it.
Are any of those players first option players though?
No,
right?
You're not gonna find that guy.
Like, you know how CJ McCollum plays really well with Dame as a second option. I think Zach LaVine needs that point guard. Like if he can get like a
or a big.
Yeah,
or maybe even trade for Bradley Beal.
That's not gonna happen.
No.
If
He
Beal
wants to
will
stay in
go to the
Washington,
Lakers,
but,
if he won't go to the Lakers, then he's not.
Keep Zach. He's so young. Why would we want to trade him? I mean,
Keep-
I don't.
No, not trade Zach. I'm talking about just trade.
They're not
for
gonna give him
Beal
Beal unless you put Zach in a package.
Yeah, that's true.
But like even then, like they're saying the Bulls are saying everyone's untouchable. I don't like that. I'd rather have Zach as being untouchable. Like he's too right now.
I think Kobe White is very touchable. I think Wendell's very touchable. I think Laurie Martin.
But not Zach. I wouldn't
but
say
not Zach. Yeah.
I
we'll
wanna
see.
keep
Everyone
Zach.
except Zach is
Exactly.
could be a good package.
We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this team plays going forward, especially getting that 8th seed. Will they be able to maintain it? Because the East is a lot more kind of wide open and spread out because you have teams like the Hawks and the Heat that are still below the Bulls that can catch fire at any time. As opposed to like the West where you kind of have your solid 8 teams. Maybe the Mavericks are kind of vying for playoff contention there.
That end of the West is looking a little like wonky. I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, because I mean, you
They're
see
all over
the
the place.
Warriors can play and light up the scoreboard in one game,
Same
and then
with
the
the
next
Mavs.
day they come back and they get nothing. I think the Mavericks are just completely streaky. I mean, it really depends on how their guards kind of shoot. Because, I mean, Luka can only do so much, but when he's passing that rock and you see Hardaway catch fire, but then go 0 for 6 in the next quarter, super streaky.
As of yesterday against the Rockets, since that we got the dub, we clinched the 8th seed technically, but since the new playoff format for this year, we get to do a play-in. Top 10 teams make the playoffs, and then bottom 2 play in for the 8th and 7th seed.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's interesting. We'll see how that plays out in the NBA, and we'll obviously be updating you on the weekly about how the NBA is going. Switching gears a little bit, let's quickly dive into the world of the NFL and mock draft season. So we
gotta give our Super Bowl reaction though.
Damn, we're
The people
3
haven't
weeks
seen
away
it.
or 2 weeks
But
away
the
from the
people
Super
haven't
Bowl.
seen the reaction.
Yeah, I mean, like, why don't we start with that? Why don't we do like kind of like the disappointments and the successes? So the success and failures of the season. We'll throw out a couple teams and we'll talk about if they had a good year or not. So we'll start with the obviously major success, Tampa Bay Buccaneers bringing in Tom Brady, who in turn brought in Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, who all scored touchdowns in the Super Bowl en route to a really, really impressive win. In the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's a straight success. I don't think we have any issues
I think they
with that.
overtook everyone's expectations.
Overachieved, yeah, for sure.
Definitely, I did not think, or in a COVID year, they would win the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think it was a failure by any means. They kind of steamrolled through the league throughout the entire year. The only competitive
did better than last
game.
year.
Yeah, and they really just, that game, just the injuries that they had, Andy Reid's son getting into that DUI accident, I mean, they kind of took themselves out of that game. And they just no adjustments to the Buccaneers pass rush.
I think that's the worst they've ever played. So I don't think.
I think a big part of that has to do with the O-line. You saw.
Yeah, the injuries.
Yeah, the injuries. Like Petty was running. You've never seen that.
But also just not being able to adjust, bring in the tight end, make a running back, bring him into formation, have him block.
Kelsey had 150 yards, but it looked like he was getting shut down, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
but you also saw Travis Kelce, not the greatest tight end of all time. I don't think we can put his name up there because he was dropping balls and he wasn't making.
I mean, it's one
catches.
game though. Like
even Tony Gonzalez. If you put Tony Gonzalez on that team, he's making those plays. One interesting one I want to bring up: the Green Bay Packers. They were the best team, in my opinion. They're the best team all season long. They had the most potent offense. Their defense was finding their stride, and then in the closing minutes of the last game of their season, they decided to kick a field goal instead of going for it on the 8-yard line.
But I feel like nothing's changed from last year to this year. People are saying, "Oh, like Aaron Rodgers has gotten better." Yes, that's true. But like they went to the semifinals last year and they went to the semifinals this year and they lost to like a good defensive team and like a Tom Brady. So like for me, like I don't think they've improved. And people said, "Oh, like they said the Packers."
I think they improved.
I think they definitely.
I think they
I don't
definitely
think they
improved.
improved.
If not him,
I think
Devontae
I
did.
think they definitely improved, but their
Yeah.
season, looking at how they improved, is a failure due to the fact that because they improved,
same
their
exact-
expectations
I
are higher.
I think
and
they-
they didn't achieve those
I
expectations.
don't think they improved personally. Like we knew they were such a good team. Like with Devontae, and because
But think
Devontae,
about it.
Yeah, but
Last
Devontae
year-
wasn't
but
this good
last year
last
Devontae
year.
was injured.
No, but okay, exactly.
Like half the season.
So isn't
But
that
like
Exactly, but
yeah.
that would be an improvement.
no, but
Him playing.
I'm saying if he had played, he would have been the same almost. Like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae
No,
would have had
no,
that
I don't think
connection.
so.
No, but
I don't think
about
so.
it, think
Rodgers
about it.
last year had an off year, and then the year before he was coming off of an injury, which was that year that the Bears, remember, they blew him up that first week, and then he came back with those injections and just like won the game at the end in week 1. But the Packers definitely improved, but I think because they improved, they had loftier expectations from finishing in the NFC Championship the year before, and due to the fact that they ended up in the same spot, that's why their
In terms of like their offense, because it was the
because
first
they had Super
year-
Bowl expectations. I think
Right.
it was Super Bowl or bust for Packers. For
No,
sure.
it was, but I was saying like as their first year with Matt LaFleur, the first year obviously like you're not gonna it's your first year with a new coach and stuff, like obviously the offense is gonna like trigger around, but I feel like I feel like their expectations in terms of what have they done to improve in that team, I don't think they've, because that defense was still the same. They had
The defense was
moments.
better.
I feel like they
I
had
think
moments.
the defense was better. They shut down a lot of teams, even though they got gashed by Dalvin Cook. They still had a pretty good season.
Alexander, bro. Jair
Alexander
he
is
was
top 2,
balling out,
top
bro.
3 corner in the game.
I honestly
probably.
thought they just had moments that they looked good, especially like against the Titans, where people are like, "Oh, their run sucks," but I feel like they were still the same team, like personally.
But listen, like this, like I think going before the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
There was not one team's defense I could see stopping Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
and the Packers. Like every time he got the ball, I could see them scoring a touchdown
Yeah.
against every defense in the league. And I've never seen that out of any team except
Because
for
there,
Patty Mahomes
well,
and the
also
Chiefs.
due to the fact that there wasn't that one defense this year that kind of rose above the rest, and then it
I mean,
ended
in
up
the
being
playoffs,
Tampa
Tampa
Bay.
Bay were
Yeah,
cra-
Tampa
like,
Bay
yeah,
went off.
Tampa
They
But
won
like
this like Tampa
over the
Bay
regular
defense
season,
in
like we
MVP.
had Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. They were the top defenses, and then throughout the first half of the season, those defenses kind of
Yeah.
faded due to injuries and whatnot, and that kind of changed. Real quickly to move this along, what do you guys think about the Bears' expectations going into the season and how they finished?
I had them before the season going 8-8, and they made 8-8, and they barely made the playoffs because
Did
of
you
the
see them
COVID
going
situation.
8-8 the way that they went 8-8 though?
No way. No
Really?
No way you can see
way.
that.
I just
First of all, starting 5-1.
I just didn't think
above
they'd pull out
expectations.
Trubisky so fast. I thought like they would take him out in like the mid-season. I knew Nick Foles was gonna come in, but I didn't expect him to come this fast. And
I
the
didn't
whole-
expect Nick Foles to be that bad though, either.
I
he
didn't
was
expect our team.
terrible.
This is like we had such a bad offense. I did not expect our offense to be that bad, but I did expect an 8-8 season though.
Yeah.
Like we lost like horrendous games by under 7. Like we didn't even score 17 points some games.
I think the pro is that we got to see that David Montgomery is a dog.
I think
he is capable
I
of
still
being
need to
an
see a
RB1.
season. I still need to see a
I
season.
think I still need to see more
Really?
from
Just
him.
from the eye test, you can't tell.
I
that,
mean,
like,
the
cuts he's
only
making,
good
the
games
plays
he
No.
had was against he had a good
yeah.
game against the Texans.
No,
With a
I think he's
terrible defense.
good.
He had a good game
I think
against
he's good, but I
Jacksonville.
think that
Terrible
offense
defense.
switched
with
to
that
a running.
O-line, being able to run with that O line. Everyone hates on the Bears O line. Anyone
I
who
hate
says
it
it wasn't
too.
Trubisky's
But
fault says it's the
gradually,
O-line, right?
but gradually,
Imagine running without an O line.
but gradually through the season, you kind of saw the improvement that the O line made and the switches that they made.
David Montgomery was starting to actually
And
pick up
exactly,
yards.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
Like, he wasn't
also,
a bust.
also at the
No, he
end of
was
the
a bust,
season,
yeah.
they played terrible teams.
No, I think they were good. Montgomery is good, but I still need to see a season because they transitioned from a throwing offense to a running offense
Yeah.
towards the end, and I feel like some.
And I don't trust
yeah.
Nagy's rushing
I
offense
think
at all.
Montgomery was a major upgrade over Jordan Howard, and I think
Oh, yeah,
when
he
we get
was.
Tariq Cohen back next year, they can start running those plays that they like those trick plays.
Hopefully,
those
I mean, they
end
didn't do
routes.
that this
I mean,
year
'cause
or last
he
year.
tore his ACL. He got injured.
Last year they didn't do that either.
Last year, I don't know.
Last year,
because
Nagy I thought they could have made Tariq Cohen into more like a Tyreek Hill type, and they didn't.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go into more teams next
Oh
week.
wait, no, pause. Allen Robinson.
What about him?
We have to sign
So,
him back.
If he doesn't get franchised and he walks away,
He's
without-
not getting franchised. There's
You
no
don't think
way.
he's gonna get franchised?
No way.
You either have to sign him or
You
you
do
have
not
to trade
the
him.
Bears
franchise
need to
a
sign
wide
another
receiver.
receiver then.
Yeah, I
A
think they
one.
should go for a Juju.
Or Chris
You think
Godwin.
Juju's gonna be a
Juju's
one though after we
Juju's
did-
value is
Or-
going to be low.
Or Godwin.
Godwin's not a
Godwin.
one. He's a possession receiver.
Or Odell.
Juju's not a one either though.
But
dude.
Odell
Think
you'd have
about
to
it.
trade for. What would you trade for
Or
Odell? At this
Robinson.
point? No, you can't trade him.
Allen Robinson for Odell Beckham Jr.
You have to sign and trade him, maybe.
That's gonna be something we gotta wait and watch and see.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see what happens.
If we lose A-Rod but we don't replace him with a solid one better
Moody.
or the same, then I don't see the Bears going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Passing wise.
So moving on real quick to our mock draft. So we're just gonna go over the top 10 picks. No trades based on the team needs right now. I think we are all in agreement that the number 1 pick is gonna be Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yes.
The number 2 pick is now where it's getting contentious because throughout the season you saw kind of Zach Wilson was the guy, right?
Yeah.
No, Justin Fields was the guy, and now Zach Wilson's kind of emerging as that kind of dark horse to either overtake Justin Fields or just take over that 2 spot as the second best QB in the draft. I don't buy that at all. I don't think that's a good move.
Really?
Zach Wilson, for me, when evaluating quarterbacks at the college level, it's all about level of competition, right? If you go to a top school, like in Ohio State, and you take on teams like Clemson and Alabama, whereas Zach Wilson goes to BYU, and he lost to Coastal Carolina. Like, that's...
I think
I feel like that's like a big weight.
I think because you got a new coach and the GM didn't choose Sam Darnold, they're gonna move on from Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because
I think that's why I think it's between Zach Wilson or Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I think they should go Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. I mean, it's a safer pick. Zach Wilson is kind of like a bust or boom type of pick. You're either gonna get like a really talented quarterback that you can kind of like develop.
I feel like Zach Wilson also is kind of like a Herbert, where he's not crazy jumping off the screen at you in college, but he kind of has the intangibles.
He reminds me of Josh Allen. Someone you have to develop, like as Umayr said.
Oh, it's like a project.
Like, he has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But he has to be like fostered and groomed into that.
And I think Robert.
Oh, I don't think actually. I think that's Trey Lance. Trey Lance to me is the biggest Trey Lance.
Yeah, he's the biggest project.
If you are the 49ers and you keep Jimmy G for a year and you draft Trey Lance and you bring him in and groom him like Pat Mahomes did under Alex Smith for a year, I feel like he can be amazing because he has the running, the passing, the pocket presence. He's got the full package. You just have to see that on
the coaching.
So you have
and Kyle Shanahan. Who else would you rather have? Who else would you rather have than Kyle Shanahan as your coach for that? So I think we can agree. Are we agreeing on Justin Fields?
I have Zach Wilson going because of his potential.
I'd probably say Fields just off of the big
but
game moments.
Exactly, because we saw that. I mean, we saw it with Mitch Trubisky, Watson.
I think Fields is a safer pick, but Zach Wilson is like the boomer.
Because Fields, I feel like you know what you have in Fields, right? And Zach Wilson,
pick, you're not gonna go boomer bust though.
Right.
You could. I
mean,
you could.
Patty Mahomes was a boomer bust, but he was not number 2.
He wasn't number 2.
That's what
but
I'm saying.
Mitch Trubisky was a boomer bust.
There you go.
We saw that.
There you go.
The Dolphins at 3, I think they go skill player because they have no skill players. I mean, who's the best receiver or skill position player on their team? Who's their running back?
Their corner.
Breida. No, skill player.
They have Myles Gaskin at running back, who's a dog.
I mean,
he broke out this season.
He's not gonna. I mean, he's not like a 1.
I think he's a 1.
No,
fantasy-wise, he was a 1. I think he's 1 on the field.
No,
I think they get. I think they get weapons for Tua.
Exactly.
You think Tua's still gonna be there?
I think Tua's still gonna be there.
I think they go
Chase.
This mock draft is based off everyone stays where. I mean, after the changes, like.
I mean, you can trade around, but I think like if they wanted to go quarterback, they would go quarterback here. I just don't think they do that. I don't think Tua played bad enough to the level of Josh Rosen.
But if they could see an upgrade in the draft, they would take it, I think.
I think they still want to groom Tua.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess, and I think that they want to also surround him with playmakers, and the playmaker here I'm going with is Jamar Chase.
I actually have Devontae Smith.
Really? You think it's going to go
this high? Because
of
Alabama connection.
I mean, I don't think that.
I honestly think that
they played together in college.
The Alabama connection has one thing to do with it, but also because Jamar Chase opted out of COVID, and I think because Devontae Smith won
So Devontae Smith, the only thing, and I would love for Devontae Smith to prove me wrong, I just think he's way too small and shriveled to play at this level, at a high level.
I think he proved that though. Like,
I mean,
being
at Alabama,
every single corner, every single coverage,
right? But being at first,
top,
but the thing is, one, he plays on the same team as the best corner in college football, Patrick Surtain, and I mean, he's just he's a burner for sure, no question about it.
Is going to be a top 10 pick?
No, not even.
No
chance.
Do you think Mac Jones is going to be a top 20 quarterback in the next 10 years?
I mean, that's
No.
You can't say that
I mean,
based
I don't
off.
know.
Like I'm just like okay, he wasn't playing with a stud at QB is what I'm saying. And
Mac
he
Jones
was-
Mac Jones is putting up numbers. Mac Jones isn't.
Okay,
no,
but
isn't not
imagine with
chump.
like a
And
Trevor
also
Lawrence.
being like
his numbers
at-
have been like tripled.
no, because
That
that's
offense was
that
just
offense was
stacked.
running through him.
Yeah.
That offense ran straight through him.
And
They
through
only
Devontae Smith.
yeah he had like 300
Yeah.
yards per game.
That's what I'm saying.
I think he's a
Put him with a
stud.
better quarterback.
I
Oh my
just
God.
don't think that he's at the level of a Jamar Chase or a Jalen Waddle.
I just think
Or
that
Kyle
him
Pitts.
opting out had a huge. I think it.
Oh, I don't
would,
think
it would
will.
hit him.
Dude, he's so good.
I
He's
don't
not
know.
the best. He's not as good of a route runner as Devontae Smith is, but he contested catches. He'll go. I mean, he
Yeah.
was the team at LSU.
I think
Him and Justin
yeah,
Jefferson,
1-8.
and they completely ran over the world of college football.
I would either have Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah, one of those two.
Yeah.
So for the Falcons at 4, I wanted to go. I was thinking Sewell, but then I was like, you know what? New coach. He wants to bring in a new system. Why not draft for the future and go Zach Wilson here?
No, because you have so many years on his contract, and I think that offense is not the problem; it's the defense. So I had actually Micah Parsons from Penn State as a linebacker. They need to fix the defense. I think the offense they were putting up touchdowns or like if you just fix that defense, I had them seeing going on a run like a wild card a playoff team. Like they just gotta fix that defense and they'll be.
I just
straight.
think I didn't see enough from Matt Ryan this year to be like, okay, I can invest 2 more years into you. I think Matt Ryan by the end of this year is gonna either be traded or cut.
But he's too
Or
expensive.
the next year.
I mean, they don't get a quarterback, they can't cut him.
Exactly, which is why they're drafting Zach Wilson. That's my.
I don't
We'll
think,
see.
Yeah. I feel like if the Falcons are the type of team where if they draft a quarterback, it's gonna be like that's the guy. And Zach Wilson is not. That's the guy to
Yeah.
come in for Matt Ryan.
Exactly.
Next year type of guy.
I just think that because they have Julio Jones.
Oh, you mean starting right
Yeah.
away?
Because
Okay,
them
yeah, I can see.
drafting
But then
quarterback-
again, like if you're a new coach, wouldn't you want your own
And
guy?
that system is not gonna groom a quarterback. They're brand like that coach is brand new. Like that entire coaching staff is.
but
Yeah.
you saying
But that's exactly why you'd want your own guy.
no, but if they draft a quarterback that 1 year he's gonna sit out, and then you have another year left on his contract. So
You don't know if the head coach is still even gonna be there next
Right,
year. It's
so-
like there's so much.
I just think that
I think he's got at least 2 years of security.
I
Depending
think
on,
you see
it also
1
depends on
year
where.
what
I
Matt
just
Ryan
think this
can
is too
do.
high for Micah Parsons at 4. But honestly speaking, and I know we're not doing these, I can see a trade happening here.
Yeah,
I can see a 49ers or maybe even a Texans maybe trade to get this pick, or even like a Giants or something, because I think Micah Parsons is going to the Giants.
Oh.
At 5, Bengals. This is the easiest.
Penei
This is the safest pick, and this is the biggest need for them. Offensive line, Penei Sewell.
Yep.
He sat out a year, but he's clearly the best offensive lineman in the draft.
They
Agree.
need it.
Yeah.
They need
Agree.
it. Yeah.
That's the main thing that they need to protect Joe Burrow. Eagles, I think they go skill player because their best receiver right now is Arcega Whiteside,
Yeah.
and he's like a practice squad guy on any
Yeah.
other team. I think they go Jalen
They
Waddle.
cut freaking Alshon Jeffrey. Dude. I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
they're
I'm
going
surprised.
completely. They're going completely young.
I
They
think
wanna
they're
go
going-
Deshaun Jackson, I get it.
I
but
think they
damn.
either get Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase.
Whoever falls.
Yeah, whoever
Whoever
falls,
falls.
they get that dude.
I probably agree with that play. Yeah.
I think just the fragility of Devontae Smith wouldn't work here because of the fact that they have injuries every single year, and I just.
But you
I
gotta
don't
pick
think
the
that
best
works.
wide receiver. And then
Jalen Waddle.
He's
Jalen
a
Waddle
third, I
is
think.
a dog.
Yeah, he's good.
Really good.
But is he better than Devontae Smith?
I
or
think he's better than
Jamar
Devontae
Chase?
Smith. I mean, the reason that Devontae Smith was able to shine so much is because Jalen Waddle was injured all year. With Jalen Waddle in
He
the
still won the
lineup.
Heisman all by himself, man.
He won the Heisman.
No, I mean
bro.
Jalen Waddle got hurt at the beginning of the year, and then you see him go up for some gaudy numbers. But and then Jalen Waddle didn't play a couple snaps in the national
Devontae Smith
championship
wasn't there. You
game.
think Waddle would have the same numbers?
I don't think Waddle would have the same numbers, but Smith definitely doesn't have those numbers.
What I'm saying is, if Waddle was injured, right?
Oh, if Smith was
Yeah.
injured, oh hell
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
hell yeah, dude. Jalen Waddle is a burner.
I think he's
Yeah,
a dog,
he's,
but
I
don't
think he's the
that guy.
fastest.
He's the fat. He
Yeah,
is
he's
like
a
a
fa-
Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
except with like crazy catchability. Like Jalen
he's the
Waddle is
fastest
that
in
guy.
the draft, I think.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle is that guy. I think I out of all 3 receivers, Jalen Waddle I think is clear cut number 1.
Oh no. I choose Jamar Chase.
No, he's gonna be a clear cut number 1 receiver in the league.
Really?
Like I think Jamar is great for sure, but I think Jalen Waddle has that ability
Like a WR1
to and be able
on a
to
team.
with his speed and catching ability, he'll be able to focus more attention on him, which will also help make his quarterback better because he'll be able to spread the ball around the field more.
I don't think.
But we're going receiver at 6. Lions with I'm going with Kyle Pitts.
I actually had Justin Fields going to the Lions because I feel like Jared Goff, they got him as a, whatever.
But he's young.
He is young,
Goff's
but
young. That's the
I'm
thing.
actually not going with
And
Kyle
they took
Pitts.
off that. They took on that big contract.
they did. But I feel like
No one's gonna
they
take him.
know that they're not gonna keep him long term, and so they choose a quarterback. Jared Goff plays for a year. They develop Justin Fields or whoever. Like
I don't
Zach
think
Wilson.
Jared Goff only gets a year.
Yeah.
There's no
Really?
way. There's
That
no way.
contract, there's no way,
There's no
yeah.
way you're paying.
I think
a
they
guy that
cut
much
him
for a
after
year.
like a year or two.
No, that contract's too hefty.
Yeah.
My bad. I said Kyle Pitts. I meant Devontae Smith. This is where I go Devontae Smith because I think the Lions are going to get rid of Galladay after his injury-ridden season.
Yeah, really?
Where
Think they're gonna go skill player?
I think they need to.
Even with Marvin Jones and even with
Well,
who's
Marvin Jones is going to be. They have Hawkinson, so that's why I
Stud
said
tight end,
he's not
like-
going to be. I think
I
they.
feel like the receiving wise are fine.
I think without Galladay, if Galladay leaves, they'll definitely need a receiver here, and I think that's where they go. I think they
Honestly.
definitely need help on the defensive side, but they also have a lot of injuries, and they went with Okuda last year, who probably has to get better because he was trash this year, and that was their number 3 pick. So I don't see them going back-to-back years at corner. At 8, the Panthers. This is where I see Kyle Pitts going.
I had Trey Lance going here
Really?
because the Carolina Panthers are like a team that's willing to go all in for a player, and I mean this is assuming they can't get Deshaun Watson, because they're the top 3
They're the top
teams.
team right now.
Yeah, to get Deshaun. But if let's say they can't, they're gonna go get Trey Lance and they're gonna try to develop him as much as possible because
I don't hate
that GM is like willing to put all his chips in to just go and win a Super Bowl. So I don't think he's willing to do that with Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's gonna get the
I
develop.
mean, yeah, GM already said it's not gonna be Teddy. So.
Right.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I can see that completely happening. But they're still gonna wait a year for Bridgewater. I think they still have him for one more.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if they got Kyle Pitts and they add him to that rotation of DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Kyle Pitts,
That'd be
oh
that-
my God,
that'd be
that's
solid
stacked
lineup.
with McCaffrey out of the backfield.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. At number 9, to the Denver Broncos, I have Patrick Surtain going here.
Same.
I think he's the best defensive player in this
Mhm.
draft. His size, his intelligence, I think he's the safest pick.
I think the Broncos just go for.
That team can't go wrong with any pick, bro.
Yeah, like
That
I
team
think
is really
Broncos just
bad.
choose the best player.
Yeah,
that's
there
on
you
the
go.
draft, and then they just go choose him.
But I think they really need to revamp that defense, especially under Fangio, because that's his
But
like bread and
I've
butter.
been hearing like Von Miller's been trying to get out, like some little.
Heard about that too.
sprinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we saw
we'll
J.J.
see.
Watt just get cut, right? So
Yeah.
he asked to be out. So I
Drew
can see
Lock
Von
also is
Miller
probably
do
not
it.
gonna be a
Mhm.
long-term option there either.
Definitely not. Definitely not. But at least they're getting their skill players back. They're getting what's his name, Cortland Sutton back next
Yeah.
year. And they have
They
Jerry
started Melvin
Jeudy.
Gordon as well.
They have Melvin Gordon and Philip
Phillip
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
So I think offensively they don't need any help unless they were going to go quarterback here, which I don't see
I was
that
gonna say
happening.
if a Fields or a Zach Wilson drops down, I can
Yeah,
see that
but
really
I don't
being
see that
a help.
happening.
I don't see
feel
that
like I don't
happening.
see that. I feel like there's going to
Yeah.
be either these guys just completely drop the ball and don't draft the quarterback that they need, or there's going to be like teams that trade up or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We'll
But
see.
if that's there for them, I can totally see them taking them. I
Mhm.
just don't. I can't imagine that happens. And then at 10, to just really quickly round this out, the Cowboys, I think they go Caleb Farley because they
Same.
need all the help that they can
They
get on
need
defense.
any defensive dude.
They could also, I could see Micah Parsons here. I like the fit better with the Giants, but I think that they go corner because who do they have at corner right now? Like their
No.
corners have
Nothing.
been
Their
trash,
defense in general.
and their
They need to get the
their
best corner
defense
available. on
Yeah.
the draft.
and their defense just gets run on and passed on like there's no tomorrow. So those are our top 10 picks. Obviously, with moves and different free agent signings and whatnot, we'll adjust those accordingly. But that's our 1.0 version of our mock draft. And we'll have a discussion probably next week or the week after, kind of updating what's going on in the league because we saw, I was going to say DeMarcus Cousins. J.J. Watt got cut. And so real quickly, today there was a recent report that came out, and we'll end with this. Russell Wilson.
Wanting out.
There is a report that the Seahawks are actually listening to offers for Russell Wilson, and it'll require 3 first-round picks. A third of the league has contacted Seattle. Now, a third of the league doesn't contact you if it's not actually out there. So if this was just like smoke or rumor, then I wouldn't have any issue with it. But I also wouldn't think that this would actually get this far where a third of the league is contacting the team. I can't imagine that he actually leaves, but the fact that he wants out or there's some like rumblings going there could mean that this is his last year in Seattle.
I don't. Okay, so the thing with Russell Wilson, right? Russ is a stud, and he doesn't get enough credit as much as he deserves because he's a stud quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Running, passing, everything. He's experienced. He's a veteran. Been to Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. I feel like he wasn't last season. He wasn't happy the way Seattle, the coaching was, the way the personnel, everything like that. He
This
wants
last
help.
year or the year before?
This last year.
I think he goes
he
or
got
the
help.
coach goes.
No, I mean at the end of the season, he said
Oh, he wasn't happy with his
changes.
whole line.
Yeah, he wants changes, right?
Because he was really upset about the
thing
defense.
Is, he's always been in Seattle, and I see him as that type of dude who doesn't want to leave, but if he has no other option, then he'll want to leave.
Kind of like a Tom Brady
like
New England situation.
If they're not going to give him help, then he's going to
I just don't understand the coach's mindset. I want to run the ball when you have Russell Wilson. Like, do you not see who your quarterback is? So
well, you need to run the ball.
I mean, no, but like his mindset, like I want to run his first option is I want to run the ball.
Because
Russell Wilson,
I mean, you have to establish the run.
Yeah.
You have to establish the run, especially with the
I think,
battle line.
But Russell Wilson doesn't want to play like that. He wants to throw the ball. He wants that offense to be explosive. So I honestly think after this year, it's either Russell Wilson goes or the coach goes. They have to choose.
They're not going to get rid of Pete Carroll.
I think they could. I think they could.
Think so.
I think they. I would think that they're more likely to get rid of Pete Carroll than Russell Wilson. Because if you give away Russell Wilson, what is your backup plan?
I don't think it's going to be a one or the other though. I think Russell Wilson wants to be in Seattle, but he wants personnel changes.
Right, but I'm saying if there's one to go,
but
because you don't have draft picks, so you have no draft capital. Because you got Jamaal Adams, which is, I mean,
I don't think that's going to stay long term either.
I mean, he's going to be there for at least another, a year or two, so
Yeah.
they're fine there. But again, like, you got to revamp that defense in one way, and that's his most situation. I mean, that's
DK
just like
WR1 on that team.
DK just emerging in that team.
Yeah.
But again, I think the problems with that team isn't on the offensive side of the ball, which is why I'm surprised that Russell Wilson wants out, because where are you going to go?
I mean, has it?
Well, if a third of a team contacted him, then third of the team's looking to upgrade at QB, wherever they are.
Right, but what situation would Russell Wilson rather have than what he has in Seattle right now?
I feel like he can go to a team and he like even the third part of the team.
Like, let's look at what we just talked about. Those 10 teams that we just talked about. Where would you want to go if you're Russell Wilson?
Name the teams.
Jags, Jets, Dolphins, Falcons, Bengals, Eagles.
Dolphins.
Okay, other than the Dolphins. Well, even
Falcons.
So if you're if you're the Dolphins, to get Russell Wilson, you would have to trade. They have 2 picks in the first round of the draft. You would have to trade your picks.
What if
So then who would you be throwing the ball to? Preston Williams.
What if they trade Dak Prescott for Russell Wilson?
They have to sign him.
Sign and trade.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't think Dak's gonna.
I mean but how does that help Russell Wilson? He'll be in the exact same situation he is in Seattle.
But I mean, I don't think it's
great
his
weapons.
He wants a
bad
GM
defense.
that's gonna help him on the offensive side of the ball. I think
he wants the opposite. He wants a GM that's gonna help him on the defensive side of the ball.
Really?
Right now, Seattle's got a fine offense.
Oh, their O-line is so
he just wants an
O-line hit and sacked all the time.
They had O-line issues down the stretch of the year, but at the beginning of the year, he was able to have an MVP
what matters more is
caliber
the end of
5
the year,
games.
End of the year. That's the most recent
Right, but also the fact that his defense was actually historically bad in the first half of the season, then they kind of like switched it up. But
if he's gonna go somewhere, he's gonna go to a hot market team.
I think
because of his wife.
the best.
I'm just being honest. There's no other way.
Sideline banter.
The best situation for any quarterback to want to go to, I think, in my opinion, is San Francisco. Because
they would have to give so much.
And they will. How would you trade your best player to a team in division? I just don't see that happening.
I think in general, I don't think Russell Wilson wants to leave.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm gonna bring up quarterbacks, and I want you guys real quickly to just tell me if you think they're staying or what team you think they're gonna be on.
All right.
So we'll start with Deshaun Watson.
Leaving.
Staying.
I think he's staying.
I think he's gonna be
What team do you think he would stay?
He would go to? I think Dolphins maybe, but they're saying like Tua's probably gonna get them. So I think the Jets. I think the Jets are willing to go all in.
Okay, I can see that.
Panthers too.
I don't think the Panthers are willing to go all in though.
I think
you have to.
No,
really
I think they're the
your
one
future.
team that's willing to go all in.
Yeah.
You think so?
As you said,
with their draft capital.
That
GM.
Because the Jets have the draft capital.
The Jets have the draft capital, but the Panthers have like think of Panthers as
the young stars.
as the Clippers owner. Ballmer.
Yeah.
Like Ballmer was ready to go all in for Kawhi. I think that's the same mindset that the Panthers GM has. Like he's willing to go all in for Deshaun.
All right, Derek Carr.
He's out.
I think he's staying.
I think he's staying as well. Where do you think he goes?
I think he goes. I don't want to say this, but maybe Chicago.
Oh,
But
Lord.
he's like
Please stay. Please
yeah.
stay.
Stay where you are, Derek.
Gruden doesn't like him.
Yeah, there's definitely a rift there, but
Yeah.
But there's no upgrade for that.
Yeah, I don't
quarterback.
see
That's the
that
thing.
unless they have it. Dang. Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think he stays.
I
he
think it
stays.
depends.
I think he stays,
Depends
but he
on the
loses
other
starting
moves that are
job.
happening.
I think
There's
he
no
stays, but he
other-
loses
yeah.
his starting job
To who?
Yeah, to who?
to whoever they bring in. I think they're gonna go
Who's the guy
quarterback.
they're bringing in?
I think they go.
Oh,
Trey
they trade
Lance.
up for a
Yeah, I
quarterback.
think that's what I think they're gonna do.
Okay.
Because I don't see, unless they can get a Surtain, I don't see any improvement that they can make.
Yeah.
Because they have stacked everything and they just have injuries. Dak.
Oh, he's out.
You think he's out?
Wow.
I think because he.
I think he's the
He's
one guy
one-
that gets franchise tagged.
Agreed. For another season.
But then,
Poor guy.
but then he's gonna hold out. I mean, if that's what you mean, because he wants to get paid like $40
Well,
million.
he'll get paid if
He's
he
not
gets
gonna hold
franchise
out
tagged.
If
because
that, I mean, if that's
injury.
that, I
And
guess
yeah,
like,
that's
he'll
the thing. The
stay.
Well, he
injury,
needs to prove to people that he can still play.
exactly. The injury, I think, kind of makes him like Dallas kind of weary and like, okay, we'll give you the franchise tag. It'll be like what, $34 million, but at least we can see if you play and then sign you to a long.
It's a weird
deal.
situation. Yeah, it's a
It
weird
is a
He's
really
gonna
weird
ask for
situation.
like after week 2 or 3.
Because
to get
I think
signed
Jerry
over.
likes him.
That's
I don't
what
think
it's
Jerry dislikes him at all. So I think Jerry's gonna
I
want to
think
get
he's
the
a
deal
solid
done, but he still wants
quarterback.
to
Yeah,
see.
he's a solid quarterback, but I don't. You wouldn't pay that much money to keep him personally.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Cam.
That's a big question mark.
I don't think he stays with the Patriots because they have. I don't think they have interest, and I honestly think they get Mac Jones in the draft. But
Mac Jones is not.
I think he
starter.
stays with
I think
them
he stays.
because they draft a quarterback that they try to groom. Because I don't think they have confidence in Stidham. And I think they're going to go because he's cheap. He'll be like $1 million. It'll be
That
nothing.
and like, what are the Patriots gonna do at quarterback? They're not gonna throw in a rookie.
And they need
like,
weapons.
and-
Most importantly,
yeah.
they'll need weapons.
Yeah, so they need to. I think Cam's the safest bet for the Patriots. Like, it's not
Again?
gonna hurt you too much.
yeah, I mean,
and Cam finally gets an off season, so maybe it could be different. If they get a
but
weapon or
if
two.
I feel like no, I'm saying in the perspective of Cam. Like if you go back to
He's gonna go
New
back.
England, and they
And
have
that's
no
the
weapons.
only place that you're
He
going to get a
said,
starting
no,
job.
if you watch
Where else? If you're a team,
yeah.
what other team would want Cam to start for them right
No,
now?
but
He said he wants to go back. He said it.
I understand, but I'm like, if I'm in his mindset, like if you go back to the Patriots, they have no weapons.
What
Aren't
other
you-
options?
But what
do you
other
have to stay
team?
at
What other
starting
team would
quarterback?
want Cam after what he did this year?
As a starting quarterback?
Maybe like I don't know if it'll be a backup. I personally think like
Would you rather be a backup on a team or when you have
Yeah.
the starting job?
Especially if you're a Cam Newton,
Yeah,
like
who has to prove himself? He
Superman,
really has to
like,
prove himself,
big
and you have that
name.
ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jameis Winston. I think he starts for New Orleans.
Does he start over Taysom Hill? You think so?
Yeah, I think he does.
yeah, I think so too.
I think he does, especially with.
I'm up in the air about that. I don't know.
I mean, Taysom didn't blow anybody away, so.
But he also wasn't bad. Like, he wasn't like people, like, they were winning games.
I mean, he was turning the ball over like every single game, though, like fumbling like crazy on his runs.
I mean, that's something
I
could
think
get fixed.
I forgot the coach's name, but he'll do a pretty good job in
Sean
developing him. Yeah, he'll be like the when Teddy Bridgewater was there. And
Yeah,
he was pretty solid. I think that's what Jameis Winston's gonna be.
He got LASIK. Let's see.
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm excited to
No
see
pun
what he does.
intended.
And then just real quick, Russell Wilson. I think we all think he's staying.
Yeah, he's staying.
Staying.
He's staying.
Yeah.
All right, well, that about wraps up our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is our first show of the Sideline Banter show. Catch us
Yes, sir.
on Instagram at the Sideline Banter show. You can also catch the full link in the video on YouTube. And then check us out next week. We're going to put a Clubhouse scheduled room so that you guys can also chime in and give us your takes on what we said and just what you want to talk about in general. I'm Nadeem. You can find me at on Instagram at NadeemN22.
Plugging himself.
You guys
true.
go next.
I'm not going to plug myself. It's all good.
That's Jamaal. He's at
Jamal.
Jamaal TV. That's Umayr. He's at Umayr1. And yeah, follow us. We'll have all our links and everything on our Instagram page and our YouTube channel. And shout out to Fareed right there, our producer.
Producer Fareed Niz.
And yeah, you can catch us on Clubhouse. We'll make sure all our links are up there too. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.
See ya.
Bye.